How do you want us to introduce you?
I want a band. I want petals to be thrown and some dancing girls.
Okay, we'll do that in the animation.
Sorry, I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, welcome to In the House, my new podcast, and this show will be hosted by me and my creative partner, Portia. The goal in this podcast is to explore different creative journeys and processes and get to know other people who are creative and who are interesting and has a quirky edge, and we like to see to draw parallels and to see how everyone works. So a lot of people had been asking us to
And also we have something called SL Creatives, which is a platform of creatives, so that has enabled us to have a lot of discussions with creatives, but we want to expand this a little further, include creatives from different industries other than art and animation, but in the same realm of things. Which is why we thought we'll do a podcast, which we have been thinking for a while.
And as our first guest, we have a very special person with us, and who has played many roles in the industry of film, especially in Hollywood. So he is mostly known as an assistant director, an AD, and photographer. So his portfolio includes movies like Star Wars, The Last Jedi, Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix, Casino Royale, and Batman Begins, etc. It's very rich movies, and he has been in the industry for over 20 years and has a wealth of knowledge and gossip, industry gossip, insides. We welcome Chris Burgess.
Yeah, you could judge by the beard how much experience he has.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I need to start getting taken seriously.
Exactly. For those who don't know you, obviously they've seen your work, they wouldn't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or certainly some of the stuff I've worked on.
Yeah. But how would you describe what you do as a profession or as a passion?
Sometimes it feels like working on a film is a passion for sure, and filmmaking is a passion. You can do jobs where it just feels like a job.
Yeah.
It's what you do. If you do it for free, that's when you know whether you really, whether it's your passion or not. It's whether you're not getting paid. Clients aren't coming to you, but you're still kind of doing what you do. Yeah. And it's when that passion then turns into your career.
Then you're lucky.
That's when you get tested. Yeah, and you're lucky, but that's when the test comes. Because it's you could start to get into that rut and start thinking of the paycheck instead of your passion.
That's a nice.
Yeah. There's been times when I've done jobs and I'm just like, are we allowed to swear on this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. You might want to put a warning up. There will be swear.
Yeah,
but what is
we'll have the
put one
little
of those
sticker.
little logos on.
Yeah, cute.
There's been jobs where I've just been like, just get me the fuck off this job. It's just really horrible. The people on it have been either unprofessional or just very difficult. There's a I won't say what project it is, but there's a project that I did recently which was amazing to work on. But at the same time, the guy was abusive. The director was abusive. Verbally abusive. I didn't see him get physical abusive, but he was verbally abusive. And you take that for days and days and weeks and weeks and months, and you start to question yourself about what you're willing to do for money and what you're willing to take.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, that was just a job. I went in and we just did it. We just did it. Yeah, we went through the motions and we just did it.
But you do several things. We heard you as an AD, and we've seen you as a photographer. How would you describe these different roles that you play?
Well, I've directed as well.
Okay.
And produced a couple of my own projects. But I see myself as a in the film industry. I'm more known as an assistant director.
Right.
But over the last sort of 5 to 8 years, I've started to do more photography in the film industry.
Oh, so photography is later, is it?
Yeah, I've always loved photography.
Okay.
That's what I did first and foremost. Been an assistant director the longest. That's how I got into the industry. I mean, I've been a photographer the longest, but I wasn't paid to do that.
Right.
So I was interested in photography, then realised when I wanted to get in the film industry that I couldn't just go in as a photographer, because the chances of me doing that were like so slim. I might have been able to find a photographer's assistant role back then, but I didn't know anyone in the film industry.
Right.
So it would have been really tough, because you've only got one photographer with assistants on each film. And there wasn't that many films being made back in like 1998, 1999. There was like 2 or 3 big films being made. So when you think about it, you had maybe one position I was trying for.
And there were many.
With each film. So, you know, very, very slim chance. And I wanted to know how to make a film. And the only department that really knows what everyone does is the assistant directors. Because you're going through the script, you're having to do the schedule, you're having to do all the paperwork, and you're speaking to every individual department and finding out what their needs are and what they're supplying for that day of filming. So when you're on the floor with the whole crew, you're speaking directly to the director, and the director's telling you what he or she wants, and it's up to you to facilitate to get exactly what they want. So you have had a chat with each department in pre-production, your second assistant director, who's basically doing all the office stuff, and they're speaking to the relevant heads of department or their people or their team to be able to say, right, tomorrow we've got so-and-so team, we need to bring this, we need to bring that, we've got this, we've got that, and then sort of we need to come in early because we need to dress 500 people, we need to pre-light, we need to sort of rig up stunts or rig up something, whatever for the scene. So you kind of know exactly what's going on. So as an assistant director, you're not bringing any creativity to the scene, but what creativity you're bringing is the creativity of organising and creative thinking. There's been lots of times which I've witnessed the assistant directors, because when filming stops, for whatever reason, if there's a problem, everyone just looks at the first assistant director and says, what now?
So there's like a lot of correspondence and following up, I guess, like, you know, I guess you have to follow up on other divisions and bring them together, especially to check up on them if they're working together.
Yeah. But as soon as if there's a problem, it rains, whether it's man-made, whether it's by God, then it's always the assistant director who's being blamed and has got to get us out of the shit.
So how many directors are there? Is one person always?
Well, there's a first assistant director, then you've got there's what's known as a floor second, which basically the floor second spends their time running around telling everyone what the shots are and what's up next and where to put their kit and what time the background extras are due, what time the cast are due on, all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the third assistant director who's sorting out the walkie-talkies, sorting out the background, making sure that they're telling all the crew what's needed and where their bags can be and where they can set up and where the toilets are. And they're like the hub of information all the departments kind of go to, because the floor second's running around the place and the first assistant is
in one place.
He's speaking to the director.
Receptionist.
Yeah, no, they're speaking. The first assistant's constantly with the director because.
And he might be updating the director on what's going on.
Well, there's a case of they'll be talking about the next shot after this. They'll be kind of trying to get ahead of themselves all the time. So it's like, okay, so while this shot's getting up, what's the next shot? Or what's the next shot? It's like a play chess. You know, you're playing like 2 or 3 shots ahead of yourself. And that means with the floor second, organising all that sort of tech stuff, not tech stuff, but organising all the planning stuff and setting all that up. The first can spend time with the director. Then you've got the runners, and they are just
Athletes.
Yeah, they're just anything that needs to be sorted out. Whether it's go and meet and greet actors coming on, go and help out the third AD, bringing extras on. If we've got extras, there'll be a crowd third AD, assistant director, to bring them on.
Just to handle
If it's massive numbers, you'll get maybe 5 or 6 third assistant directors coming on, fielded by more runners in that department. So that'll be the crowd department coming on. We're talking like if you're you've got hundreds of people, but the runners will be sorting out drinks, the catering tables set up, making sure there's coffee and tea set up, and locking off doors. So when we are rolling, the bell's gone off, the lights up, making sure each door, even though the red light is the
on-air light.
Or we call it burning.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're on the outside the stage, you'll see a red light on the outside of the stage. When you go into the inner door, you'll see another red light on the inner door, and then when that's closed, even then, you'll still get people walking into the inner door, even though you've had all. So we need to position a person at every single door.
Yeah.
And those will be the runners. You need to put a runner on the bell as well. It's a
Sounds
big team.
like a lot.
It's a big team. Yeah, and every one of them's got to be coordinated. Every one of them's got to be given sort of the information. Yeah, we've all on radio. So you've got to think about what all the problem areas that could hold up filming, and you've got to put a person there to manage it.
So how do you find photography and versus the AD role? Because in photography, it's you and your eye, and the result is immediate. So it's like a more personal thing. And when it comes to an AD, you have to work with a lot of people and their expectations. How do you find that?
I much prefer being a photographer because you're your own boss.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting the shot and you're staying out of the way and you're not holding up filming, then it's all good. I've always wanted to be a photographer, but then again, I've always wanted to know how film got made. So that's why I became an assistant director. I was looking to sort of skip out of being an assistant director once I was kind of in.
Yeah.
But years went by, jobs came up, and then
Yeah, that happened to us as well.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I kept on getting big jobs, and they were big enough jobs where it's like I just couldn't say no to them. If I said no to them, then I'd have to sort of try to get in as a photographer, but it still would have been. I still didn't have enough body of work. I still didn't prove myself for the studios to go, "You're the man." In you go. That takes a lot of time, and I ended up sort of getting to know photographers and assisting them.
Yeah, I can so relate to that because, initially when we went solo, I think I did various kinds of videos to illustrations to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we were doing a different
This whole scope.
types of things.
Yeah, I mean, every maximum it would take us like 1 week, and we would put it out like 2-3 days, one product. So the different change happened when the breakthrough when we did Godzilla. That video itself was a kind of a different process because it took like 20 days for me to finish the whole product because we are one-man team, and so by doing that,
you kind of set like a different level of how it's
standard,
done. So then that takes a lot of time and
to
a lot
finish.
of energy. Because we had done music videos before Godzilla,
which we hadn't put all, that much of details into it and make it pop. But this one was like that extra mile was included here, and it blew up. And ever since then, the jobs kept coming. People wanted their music videos done, so like that drove us off from the trajectory where we were doing various kinds of executions. So I think, like you said, the the work kept on
when
coming.
It comes, So when it, like, just like you said, it's like it kept coming even if we wanted to take a break and do something else, and take a little refresher. It's just that the jobs that were coming were more and more exciting, and it was it was an interesting scope. So we kind of had to do it, just like you said, just like it was for you.
So much of parallels. So like, I want to know how you broke through into photography.
Yeah, so getting the job as a photographer, the break was Star Wars. So I had worked with David James. I met him on Band Brothers. I'd also met him when I moved to America. Okay? And then I walked onto it's a brilliant film. I can't remember what it's called. It stars Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell. It's predicting the future crimes.
Collateral.
Not collateral. It'll come to me in a minute.
Is it like the future?
It's really
futuristic
good.
Flying cars and stuff?
Yeah. But Neil McDonough, who plays one of the cops, one of the futuristic cops. No, I'll think it'll certainly pop into my head in a minute. Neil McDonough was on Band of Brothers, and I got to know Neil really well. And we were doing a photo shoot because Band of Brothers was just kind of gearing up for release. So I moved to America because I was Donnie Wahlberg's PA. Donnie Wahlberg was big in the 80s with New Kids on the Block. But he was getting into acting, he had done Sixth Sense, he had done something else. So he was kind of... Anyway, I moved over there to work with him. And he was in Band of Brothers as well. And then we were on this lot, and we were doing this big Vanity Fair photo shoot. And there was Damien Lewis, there was Neil, there was Donnie, there was all these people. And Spielberg was shooting this film there. So and David was the photographer. So I went on set. They said, come on set. I think that was the second time I met Spielberg. And we went into the set where the guys are in the tanks, the guys that are predicting the future. They're kind of in these water tanks. And so again, I hung out with David, spent a bit of time with him, blah, blah, blah. Cut to, I don't know how many years later, but I'd moved to Sri Lanka, made the move. This was back in 2011. I did like 18 months here. I directed a couple of commercials, I did a few bits and pieces. But I was kind of, massive sort of cultural shock and cultural change for me of being in this world of cinema, which was like, to me, reality was really dull and boring. Like paying your bills, going to the supermarket, like life to me was just bored the shit out of me. My life was on a film set when no 2 days are the same, and your friends are kind of the crew members. You're working 16-hour days, you have this bond with them, and you get weekends off, sometimes 6-day weeks. And so it was just a bit kind of dull. So suddenly it was like being pulled out of this and then dropped into Colombo, Sri Lanka, with no film industry at all that I could find. I found a couple of people.
Was this before you met Serena?
No, this is because I met Serena. This is I married Serena, and she was fed up with
But she was in the UK.
The industry. Yeah, I met her in the UK.
But then you moved to the...
moved to Sri Lanka because the film industry had gone a little bit quiet because there was a writer's strike back in 2011. Yeah.
But then how old were you when you first joined the industry in the UK, as you said?
20, I think I was like 25, 26. It's quite old actually. I went in as a runner.
Okay, so what were you doing before
26. I was selling advertising space for a newspaper.
Right, media.
Yeah, which I just hated. Just bringing up companies.
But then you were doing photography all the time on the side,
just as a hobby.
That was your hobby.
Yeah.
Then you got into this. Then when did you move to the US? At what age?
Well, first of all, I moved to Spain for a bit. So I just fed up with my job. I moved to Spain, and then it was like that's where I found that I loved film.
Oh, right.
That's
What
where it's just
inspired you in Spain? Like,
nothing.
okay.
I couldn't speak the language for a good sort of 3 to 4 months, and it forced me to learn how to speak Spanish. And it was just conversation. It wasn't like fluent. But my only sort of joy, real joy, apart from learning Spanish and being in a different country, and it was an amazing place as well. Once a month, they would show a film in its original version. So I used to go to this I used to live in a place called Santiago de Compostela. And that's where I lived, which is a stunning, stunning city. And so it was a beautiful theatre where you had the floor, which would be like all these rows of seats, and then this dome kind of tiered.
Experience.
Yeah, but it was all individual boxes. And you had all these seats in these individual boxes. So how you get to them, you sort of walk up the stairs at the back, and then you go to the box and open it up, and then go in, and there's only 4 seats.
Yeah.
And it was just this magical experience. And then I used to just watch films once a month, and I just loved it. And it is beautiful, stunning. And then I had my mum send over film magazines.
Okay. From UK.
From the UK.
She's
she
also
would
a film
post. No, but I just used to ask and say, look, I'm really missing kind of film magazine. I don't know why. They were, again, I didn't know. I knew I loved film. Like I would like as a kid, I would go to the cinema.
Yeah.
And back then, you could just stay in your seat and watch the next showing, as long as they didn't sell it out.
Yeah.
And I used to do that. So I used to go at like 9 in the morning and not come out till like 5 in the afternoon.
Right.
And I didn't know it was escapism because I was just too young to sort of understand that. But it was complete and total escapism. And I remember just watching just tons of films growing up, and films on television as well. Like there were times where we had our front room, and then we had these 2 double door things, thick double doors that would close. And I remember I could wedge open a gap, and I could come in while my parents and whatever were in the front room, and I could watch a film with one eye through the gap. And I used to do stuff like that.
To the cause.
I just loved film. Just absolutely loved it. And
What about it do you think you love?
I don't know. It's escapism. It just had to have been escapism.
Different world.
From France.
But I was really influenced by them. That's the thing as well. It's really stupidly, well, not stupidly, but I used to just absorb it. Because I don't know whether, maybe it was because my parents sort of didn't explain much to me. They would never sit me down and sort of talk about stuff. Like my dad, certainly not. And my mum was a nurse, and she used to specialise in cancer and leukemia in children. So she would come home. She'd come home, and she would never talk about her job. She would never talk about the effects of her job. How she did that, I'll never know. And you can think about, how you sort of switch that off. But she had a way of being able to switch it off. So when she came home, then she was just doing her thing.
Yeah.
But she would never sort of sit us down and sort of talk about life. Or everything was kind of in the moment. Watch television, go and play, do your homework. Which has made me a different parent, because I spend a lot of time chatting to children all the time. I try and sit down, make an effort, sitting down, chatting and getting to know them, because that's one thing I found my parents didn't do. So maybe if I went to see a therapist, I'm sure they'd be like, your film was that's your education, that's where you learnt everything. And that's probably, me trying to make sense of the world and trying to pull in sort of
information.
Yeah. So while I was in Spain, then I realised I kind of loved film. Like, if I love something this much, surely there must be a job. Because even though I didn't work in the industry, I still used to watch all the credits roll up at the end of the film. Don't know why. And so I knew people obviously made these things. And then I kind of went back. While I was in Spain, I hatched a plan of getting in the film industry.
So you were 26, 7?
Probably about 25 then, 24, 25. It took me a year to get in the industry. Once I had moved back. No, it took me 2 years. I moved back to when I was 24 to Plymouth. I got a job in a cinema for I don't know how long, maybe 10 months, 11 months, just to kind of watch as much cinema as I possibly could. Yeah. And
like
then,
Randy worked at the library at Sarasota.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but you did it for a reason.
Yeah, just to have knowledge.
Yeah. And then I moved to London with my great plan of getting in the industry, which failed miserably for the first 3 or 4 months. Ended up getting a job, just a regular job, on Oxford Street in one of those big stores selling watches.
Watches?
Yeah, it was a problem. It wasn't like, I don't know if I want to watch, I got a dodgy
That
Rolex.
would be really interesting.
No, I didn't do that. It was a proper concession inside of one of those stores. I think I was running 3 concessions. I ended up running 3 concessions, so it was like John Lewis, something, and something. Which was kind of it just meant I could pay for my rent.
Yeah.
But I was at the same time knocking on doors in production companies, going around Soho. You know, one of my plans was spend time in places that have creatives, you know, and go to those pubs even though I didn't drink. That didn't get me anywhere. I hardly sort of got into any production companies. I mean, I left my details, but not one of those companies ever got back to me to say, look, we've got a position opening, or are you still available, or no. Yeah, I mean, I joined, there's a film festival called Rain Dance, run by a guy called Elliot Grove. I don't know how I've remembered that.
Right. You didn't remember the movie?
No, I will in a minute. It was suddenly pop up. And I went to a couple of his talks. You know, every time I went to ask a question, he would just push a flyer under my face saying, come to this.
Right.
You want to get in the industry, come to this. It costs like, I don't know how much money. He would never sort of say, well, have you tried this? Or none of that. It was just pay for this. And I felt everyone that I met at these places were like
that.
Well, it was all sort of like, are you worth talking to?
Yeah.
Is it worth me actually spending my time talking to? And as soon as they found out I had no experience and I was trying to get in the industry, suddenly you felt like the leper in the room. So it was kind of like, okay, well, fuck you lot. I can't be bothered with it.
Again, like you said, that is back in the day. Nowadays, like they're more friendly and like.
Still, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't need to go to those places now. You know, and if I go to those places, I can be the asshole.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm. You know, I've got a CV now. I've got a resume. But the funny thing is that I never. After I got in the industry, I never saw any of these guys at the meetings ever working on the big movies. You know what I mean? It's like. Okay, that's sort of. It made me feel quite nice.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't an asshole.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't really help that much. I mean, you can get films made by being that way, and I know plenty of people have got made. You know, had films made or got films made by being that way, but you know, they haven't had longevity, and the films they make they haven't really broken big. So I spent time with people sort of showing me how it wasn't done.
That taught you also.
It did teach me quite a lot. And I just gave up with the independent sort of filmmakers because they were all just sort of more up themselves than when I found out that people with actual talent, people were amazing.
Yeah, that's actually.
They had more sort of humility about them than this lot who were just desperate wannabes.
Wannabes.
And I just didn't want to be part of that. It was unprofessional. It was had hardly any integrity. It was just ugly, and it was just I don't know. It was just horrible. And so I decided to change tact a little bit because I wasn't getting any luck with the production companies. So I found this place called the London Film Commission, and I just rocked up and I was like, you know, I'm looking for sort of to get in the industry, blah blah blah. And they said, well, no, we can't offer you any employment, but we have got a location library. And this was back with we had computers, but we didn't have like a database.
Right.
It was we were just about starting building a database. This is like 97, 98. So if you wanted to see a location, you'd go down to the library and you'd open up these big files with panoramic photographs, all stuck together, stuck in a book.
Right.
So you'd have town halls. It'd all be categorised. You'd pull out this massive book that would cover this table, and you'd kind of open up this thing. And so my job would be to go through all these photographs that were sent in by location managers or someone from the location department within the London Film Commission went along and photographed. So I was just sticking these things in the book. But my idea was like, I want a job here upstairs, because I was downstairs in the basement. And I would go in after work, so I would get there at 6 and I would leave at 9. But then I was working with Christabel Albury. I don't know if you've heard of the Albury Theatre in London, but that's her family. Not only that, but I didn't know at the time, but her husband he had a production company which was upstairs, and they were making a sort of BBC One spy TV series, and they were good contacts, really good contacts. But the reason I got a job there is because I thought me going out meeting people is just not working. So why don't I position myself where people are coming in as like a hub? So I think it was like 2 or 3 months. Someone screwed up upstairs, and they lost their job. And that's when they came down. Because you got this guy who's turning up free of charge. Working, I don't know how many days a week. So they were just like, well, this guy's kind of obviously keen. And I've spoken to Christabel in the evening. She was quite funny because she would come down in the evening. Once her job was finished for the day, she'd just come down and chat with me. Brian Eastman is her husband.
Oh, okay.
And he went on to produce Downton Abbey. Yeah, so but I never sat down and chatted with him. He was always very quiet. But I did sit down and talk to Christabel quite a lot. And then I got a job working full time there. And then people would come and I'd get to know location managers, I'd get to know producers. I think I was there for about another year. So you're talking like a year moving to London, a year trying to get a job, and then a year working in the film commission. And then Pat Carr came to the location, came to the commission to look for locations, because she was bringing a film over called Inspector Gadget, which they were going to shoot in Greenwich, double up as Chicago or something. That fell through, but it meant I could get to know Pat a little bit and spend whatever hours showing her this and chat. So that film, fell through, and then she went on to do The Mummy.
Oh, okay.
So I just said to Christabel, look, Pat's got because she was the producer of The Mummy. Pat's got a film coming up. Do you mind if I ask for a job? And she was like, mind? Why would I mind? Like, no one works here full time for the rest of their life. This is the whole point. The commission to bounce careers.
That's nice of her to say.
It was lovely. It was awesome of her. So I put in a good word for her. And Pat was the production secretary on the original Star Wars. If you look in the credits, you'll see Patricia Carr, Pat Carr. And she got points in Star Wars. She's still receiving checks from the franchise. Still receiving checks. So she said, well, yeah, I've got the film starting so-and-so. Have you got your own transport? Yes. So she said, okay, well, as of whatever date, come out to Shepperton. I'll introduce you to have a quick interview or whatever with the coordinator, and we'll go from there. And that was it.
What kind of advice would you give for someone trying to come into the industry at this time? Is it, should they come in and do independent films initially, or should they work directly under a bigger crew in the industry already and have a little experience on field before? How would you suggest they start?
So I don't know. I mean, the industry is so different now.
How is it different now?
Well, to make your own stuff, it was all on film. So you try getting film. Finding film and getting film developed it was really expensive.
Right.
So it's just so much harder to shoot your own stuff than it is now. Like if you can't get in the industry, then you just start making your own films.
You don't have a chance, yeah. So now you
make your own films, that's it. And then you've got more chance of getting exposure. It also depends on, not everyone wants to be a director.
What do they want to be?
Any member of the film crew. They could want to be set designer, art director. But I mean, it's easier to produce your own stuff
now. But my question is more do you think it is better for a newcomer in filmmaking to do a few independent films by themselves and then break through to the industry in that way, or perhaps start off by working with a group in the field and seeing how it's happening before they start doing their own films?
In some departments, you've got to get experience with someone else to be part of the team, and I think that's what's lacking here. Is because the industry is so small. You can't get apprenticeships. You can't get on as interns so much. You can't kind of build that experience because there's not many films being produced. You know, I know plenty of DOPs. Well, I don't know them personally, but there's a lot of DOPs in this country who weren't loaders. They weren't. You know, they didn't start off as a camera department runner. They didn't go on to then focus pull and loading and then focus pull and then a camera operator. You know, it takes years to become a DOP. Years and years and years. It's not an easy job. But here, because there's no sort of set way of doing things, you know, if you can start making your own stuff, it looks okay. People tend to like it, and you can start pitching yourself as a DOP. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just a bit. But you know, you step off Sri Lanka and try and get a job in the bigger industry in America or in. I mean, it can be done if you've got a great looking body of work. The door can open.
It isn't, but it isn't always that you would get great talent from the start, right?
Yeah, I mean, some people are just naturally gifted. You know, they're good with it. You know, maybe they're good with art, and so they know how light falls. They know how to mix the darks with the lights, and they can, you know. But it's not just about that. You know, if they got a great body of work here, they do loads of commercials, they do a few films, and then they get into they want to, you know, they think on another level where they want to get into the European side of filmmaking, or go to America, or go to Canada, or go to Australia. It's not just about your talent. It's about how you can deal with people. And things are operated differently in different countries. And if you don't know how the language is, you don't know how to communicate, then it's going to be, you might find it really tough. Like, I can't imagine if I'd honed all my skills as a DOP here and pitched myself as a DOP and then went back to the UK, not knowing how the UK operated, and then just walked onto a set and sort of started trying to do my thing and not knowing what everyone else is needed to do as well. I just don't know. I haven't spent enough time on sets here because there's not enough films being made just to even go for a set visit. You know.
Would you be interested? Like, there are a few film directors that we know who make amazing films locally. Would you be interested in, seeing how it happens over here and like visit a set?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen. Good Karma Hospital is probably the only thing I've.
Yeah, but that wasn't produced.
It wasn't produced. It wasn't Sri Lankan produced, but it was. You know, a lot of the crew were Sri Lankan. But yeah, the people that were making the decisions, the first AD, DOP, they were all foreigners. The only film I did go on to was the Maali story, cricketer.
So that was
really?
also not produced here. It was in
No, but they did some shots here. They did some stuff by Independence Square.
Yeah, but it was produced and directed in India. So.
Yeah, and it looked like any other film set. But yeah, it'd be interesting to sort of see how they work.
So here,
But I would like to see how it would work, like Fly on the Wall, how they have their production meetings, how they have their recce's, and how they plan for that day, and then how they shoot that day.
Yeah.
Like you rock up to set and you see the cameras and you hear the first AD and you see it all, but you don't know the mechanics behind it. It could all look great, but if they had planned it and they had talked about it and they envisaged this day of filming, and then you get there and it looks nothing like what they've talked about, then it's like, why did that happen? Why did you deviate from this vision here to doing this here? That's not always that's not always a bad thing. You can improve things. And there's many a film director that will get to a location and then it's like, oh, this is all wrong. We could do it this, and then it just evolves.
Yeah.
But you have to have experience and confidence to do that.
Yeah.
It's added so much to the film.
Randy has always wanted to take our team, go sit, see how it's
They've
done.
never got a secure person. Just to rock up and all sit eating popcorn, watching them.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Making notes,
Making notes.
videoing,
They're just
tweeting.
Just seeing that. Like for example, when Randy does his work, when you look at the screen and there's
You can't
nothing,
understand what's going on.
Yeah.
The back end, I'm working the back end.
Yeah, it's not the same as visiting a movie set. There you see people moving around,
It's
happening, that happening.
There's a lot of coding that goes into the walking cycle of a person.
Yeah.
So like all that keyframes, and when in real life you don't get that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to understand what he's doing, but I feel that on a set it would be a more interactive experience because we can see people moving around. We can understand at least certain roles that are happening.
But that's the thing, it's like what's in your mind is like when you go onto a film set, you're just watching multiple minds at work.
Yeah.
And if you were to have a camera just on sort of time lapse, you'd see this kind of, it'd be like ants.
Yeah.
Just moving a mountain, just hundreds of these people.
Yeah.
And things just moving and happening. And it is fascinating, it is amazing. But it's kind of, you don't appreciate it unless you know what's gone on behind it. When you've seen the words, you've seen the storyboard, you've seen the concept art, you've seen the costumes come together, you see all this come together, and then you walk onto set and you're just like, I mean, the amount of time, I'm still in awe.
Yeah, true.
A lot of the time when I walk onto set, I'm just like, humans are just
great.
So great. It's brilliant.
That's true.
Yeah. Like humans made this. It's just, I mean, I would have loved to have worked on Dune. Like I tried so hard because I knew quite a lot of the crew. And I'll try again for the next one.
Yeah.
But, to work on something of that scale and that epic would be just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And just to see how much work it takes to make a believable world, other worlds, a universe.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I mean, I did a thing called Brave New World, which it was stunning to work on because it was on such a large scale, and it was taken from the Huxley book.
Okay.
Yeah, and they took the book and they did change it to like a modern day version of it. But yeah, it was amazing
What
to watch.
film was this?
Brave New World TV series.
Oh yeah.
It's on Peacock. But it was just amazing just to watch these walk on set, vast, sort of huge sets. It was just.
And even Dune, they built that set, the monolithic stuff. That's really nice.
Yeah, the spaceship that comes down, that big egg-looking one, drops down. Yeah, all that. all that, and that the big one at the start with the ramp that comes down.
Comes out of the water.
Start. No, it comes right out. So I think it's like in the first 15 minutes. It's where they come and tell.
Yes.
So you're looking after
the Emperor's crew comes down.
Yeah, and he's speaking on behalf of the Emperor, saying you now are you're in charge of this planet.
Straight. Yeah. No, what's the place with you're now going to go to Dune, basically.
Yeah, which is what was that place called? It's the Harkonnens were there and they left.
Yes.
Arrakis.
How do we not?
Arrakis.
But all that stuff is in camera. Then he wanted it as much as he could have in camera. Yeah, stunning. And again, it's the scale of it. It's just amazing. And I'm guessing it was probably foam and wood, because I saw them do that on the Mummy, where they built all the statues, and they're just massive blocks of polystyrene.
Yeah.
And they just carved them up.
Yeah.
And then painted them. But it must be really cool for you guys, because you can visualize. Like if you write a script, you've got the talent to visualize it in animation form, to make it come alive. All it's going to take is time.
Yes.
And your vision comes to life. You know, for me to make a film, I've got to find the budget.
Crew.
I've got to find the crew. I've got to find the camera kit, the lighting. I've got to find, costumes might have to be made, certain hair, makeup. There's so many moving parts that I would have to
it's a direct
sort.
cost. Yes.
Yeah, to sort. And but it's also asking people of their time and effort. It could take 3 months to shoot a film. There's so many moving parts. Just to be able to sit down and to draw and animate your film, that must be.
You can just draw and create anything.
It comes to
like.
life.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like the comparisons. I mean, there are pros and cons in both of the industries. Like I remember when last 2 years back, some people, one guy came and asked for quotation for animated music video. So when we gave the amount, and he was like, wow, I came to you to get a lesser quotation than an actual live action.
That cost.
He's like, I might as well do a live action. So a lot of people are unaware of the effort that it takes to do the animation and the prices that are included for the man hours. And also you can see a lot of commercials, even you just like in animation, you do the pre-planning, the storyboard, the vision, and all of that, and then but in real life, live action, you go and set it up there and you shoot, and maximum it takes 2-3 days to do.
If it's a few minutes.
2 minute, 3 minute. But in animation, for you to do a certain kind of animation, not an infographic, but something, it takes more than a week, definitely.
I mean, even for an infographic, it'll take a week. But for something like what you do,
because you have to do the backgrounds from scratch, make the whole world from scratch. So there are pros and cons. A lot of people don't kind of see what really goes into animation. It just gets lost in behind the scenes.
I mean, it's awesome. Like you said, it's awesome to visualize something in your head and then be able to bring it to life without the variables. Now in live action, there would be the environmental factors that come in, and the crew and those issues, the lighting, the camera. So it's a lot of variables that you have to depend on. And so even if it's all set, then all good. But in animation, then you have that option of controlled environment, which is absolutely something that's an
plus point in
plus
animation.
Point. And you can do you don't have to adhere to physics per se. You can do things that are physically not possible to do.
Yeah, and sometimes in animation, in live action, like you said, you feel the camaraderie, and surrounded by all these creative people working together.
That's
sometimes in animation, if you don't have a big team, you're kind of you miss that team action. So
Yeah, you say that, he says that
I want that
once-
greenhouse effect, like to be surrounded by like-minded creatives to run off ideas off each other. So you miss that if you're not in the good setting in animation. But a lot of parallels, and again a lot of pros and cons, I think. So one shouldn't. I don't think it's fair to compare and say this is easier because there are things that are there are things involved.
Pros and cons in both
yeah,
of those situations. So that's why it's interesting to explore how it is for you in filmmaking.
That's
and
interesting.
that is what that is why it's really interesting. I feel that's why we wanted to do this conversation as well, because so we can understand what kind of problems do you have when it's not even on the set and depending on so many people. It's crazy. And then us having to when Randy goes in, that's what I was going to say before, he tells me that it's like a time lapse when he starts the video and when you end it and you come out like so many things have happened in real life, and then this happens. It's time again.
Yeah.
So when you shoot and you're ready and you actually have the budget, it's a matter of few months, maybe a year it is, but I don't know. It feels like it's a faster process once it's ready.
Yeah.
But with animation, it feels like it's taking a long
different
time.
kinds of animation also depends.
Depends.
But you could
frame
do-
by frame, it takes forever. 3D requires you to have specific lights and get the proper lighting done.
Yeah.
But 2D, what we do is like we just draw the lighting there.
Yeah, actually 3D requires other people
Yeah.
rather than one person.
That MechTech TV program, is that shot in 3D or is that shot in 2D?
Let's have a look. Anyway, let's have a look.
Because it's beautifully done. So is this 2D?
No,
It's 3D.
this is 3D.
And
Like, you go back a few years, there's no way they would have had that. They'd have been quite flat. He would have come in, stood in the same light as the main character or whatever. You wouldn't have the kick on the neck there. It would have all been kind of quite well lit.
also, I think this technology is there. It's the guy who's like has the eye. Okay,
Yeah.
he knows how to use the lights properly.
Sure.
But these tools might be accessible for someone else who doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
It might be flat. So they have those tools that they can use that way.
Yeah.
But in 2D, we have to draw everything. So and also they can take assets from online and just customize it. But we have to do everything from scratch. That's the difference between 3D and what we do.
2D, yeah.
That's a challenge for us.
Have you read Shehan's book?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Trippy as hell.
Yeah.
Trippy as
Yeah.
hell.
So we dropped, Randy, I think you did, dropped a message to Shehan asking, would you like to get this animated? Shall we animate this?
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to act those demon characters.
I don't know if it could transfer into a film. There's too much going on.
Really?
There's just too much going on. Yeah, I just think
think
there's too much information.
But it's like an anime. Just look at the Japanese anime.
Yeah.
So much going on. But it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but it's very. I feel like it could be a TV series because you've got time.
That term, yes.
You've got time
Space
to.
out.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
If you're asking an audience to take that book in like an hour and a half,
No,
2
no.
hours,
No,
that's a
I
lot
agree,
of stuff to throw at them.
But when I meant film, I meant
TV. Yeah.
I meant to actually
Show it,
have
to
it
shoot
come
it,
to life in some
Yeah.
form.
But I think it could be. It's sort of.
Yeah, because imagine that big dude with all the belly rolling with this other humans.
Visually
Last
it
question,
was-
but you already kind of addressed it
Yeah.
during our conversation. But more specifically, you're doing this course for filmmakers in Sri Lanka. First of all, thank you.
Welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, and what do we know? What do we need to know about it?
We go to 4-day filmmaking Instagram, or you can email 4dayfilmmaking@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And what you need to know is this course is for people who are they could already be filmmakers, but it's more or additional, it's for people who want to make a film but kind of don't know how. Like, it is overwhelming to think what aspects are needed to make a film. It's a course where, again, I don't know how the system is here. So I don't know how you do the script breakdowns. I don't know how they take it from concept to idea to script and then start to bring that script to life. I can only teach what I've been taught over the last sort of 20 odd years. And the people that I've worked with I've been very fortunate to have worked with some of the biggest filmmakers in the world. When it comes from Spielberg, Chris Nolan, J.J. Abrams, who else? There's a whole bunch. And I have been fortunate to watch them firsthand. And not just them, but also the team and work on the team that had to go through the script and had to come up with the schedules, and had to come up with the one-liners, and had to come up with the call sheet. And so I can only teach what I've been taught. And that, to me, that's the most efficient way to do it, to save you money and time. You can wing it, you can kind of plod along, but my method is proven and has been over 50, 60, 70 years, 100 years. And that's the way that I've been taught, and that's what I want to. Like I say, ideally, if I could handpick people that to come on this program, would be people that they've got this urge, they've got this, if you're going to be a poet, if you're going to be a storyteller, if you're going to be an artist, if you're going to be whatever, there's a need to do it. A poet doesn't kind of go to poet training classes. Do you know what I mean? It's just in them. They just start writing. They just have to write. It's kind of burning inside of them that they have to write. It's the same with anything sort of creative. They have to do it whether they get paid or not. And I just want to, if I could handpick these students, it would be a need of theirs that they need to do, that they really, really want to do. And I can sort of give them that formula, give them the roadmap. So I know what it's like. I know it's sort of overwhelming, and I know that can actually put you in like a paralysis state of I just don't know how to move forward. So I just want to simplify it and show them that there is a way, and to give them that sort of formula to be able to kind of go, okay, so it's not just rocking up on set with a camera and a whole bunch of mates and figuring it out.
Okay.
You can do that if you like. But it's going to be
different.
It's definitely going to be different. And and I think then you compromise. And you do end up being compromised. Once there's markers that you hit in the way of making a film, and I think that being guided to each marker. It's like going up Everest, really. If you haven't got a Sherpa with you, kind of showing you the route and what to look out for and how to get there, and then you're just going to die up there, aren't you? You're not even going to make it a base camp. Because you have no idea what questions to ask, you've got no idea what questions not to ask.
Sure.
So my whole course is taking it from an idea or a script and then slowly bringing it out of them, what their idea is and how it can come to life.
What would be their takeaway? Like at the end of the course, what do you want them to have taken in?
They will have enough knowledge to be able to grab a camera and a bunch of mates and go out there and plan something before going out and shooting. Okay,
let me ask this question the other way around. What do you want them to bring in when they're starting the course? What should they have with them when they're starting the course, apart from obviously the passion and the need?
If they've got an idea, they've got a story, and even if they haven't got a story, I can't show you and I can't explain how to do script writing, but I can give you an idea. I can give you a sort of nuggets of information. Also, there's so many resources online that you can use. So I'll give a list of the resources that can be used. But I do want, I would much prefer everyone to turn up on the first day with at least an idea, with at least a story. I mean, this whole thing is about storytellers, you know, and just turning those storytellers into filmmakers.
Don't stop.
Yeah. So guys, if you are in Sri Lanka and if you're interested in like learning how to do movies and like, you know, getting the first-hand one-on-one experience, working with the team, especially you know, deriving the knowledge from a Hollywood experienced AD, assistant director, and you know, if you're really interested in getting to know the ropes, make sure to check out Chris's page, and we'll share the link in the description. And I think it's a 4-day course, and I think it's an awesome opportunity, I guess. You know, we also planning to go. So we thank Chris for really making the time for us today, and I hope you guys had an awesome insight, and we learned a lot of stuff and a lot of parallels. And it was really interesting to get into the inside industry things and how things So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys have any thoughts, leave it in the comments. And hopefully we'll be back with another episode with
more interesting stuff to discover.
Yeah. All right. See you then next time.
Bye.
Bye.